Hey, welcome back everybody. Again, my name's Taylor Bryant. I'm a Master Tech, and today we are going to do something pretty special. I got a surprise for you guys. I know my last videos have been based around a B5.5 Passat, but I have a new toy in the garage. I'm very excited about it, and the first thing that we are going to do to it is an oil change. Reason why is I don't know what oil is in this. This car takes a special oil, so I don't know what the car dealership that I got this from, has put in it, but we are going to rectify that situation. And I'm going to show you one small modification that you can do for these that is very, very cost effective, and it's just another little dose of insurance that we can use for these vehicles. So let me show you my new ride. It's awesome. Ta-da! This is my new ride. This is a 2017 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. It's a 2-liter 6-speed, and I kind of fell in love with this car. I just went to kind of look around and found this one. So I was driving a Suburban, and it just wasn't me, so I went ahead and bought this one. And it's got 70,000 miles on it, right at 70, so it is time for another maintenance as well. So might as well go ahead and get everything done as well. And love the car so far. Really, I've only had it for about a week, but it's really growing on me, and I'm learning how to use all the different things in there. So look out for more videos coming from this. I still have my Passat wagon, but this is just another addition to the stable. Okay, here's the oil that I use. This car takes a 5W40 full synthetic oil. It's very important that you put full synthetic. No synthetic blend or no conventional oil goes in this. And this right here is, in my opinion, one of the better oils out there. It's liquid moly. They make really good stuff. You're going to need 5.5 liters for this. So if you get just this big bottle right here, it's only 5 liters. So you're going to need another liter to split. And I use man filters, or they make the filter factory. They're the OEM manufacturer of these filters. So if you can't find a man filter, just go to your Volkswagen dealership. It is the same exact thing. I order this stuff off of Amazon. So oil changes run about, I think, even with the drain plug, which I'm going to talk about here in a second, I think it was about $65 for all this stuff, give or take a few bucks. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but it's much better than the oil, the Castrol that they recommend. And this, especially if you go the full 10,000 miles in between servicing, you really need this oil in there. If you're just going every 5,000 miles, really like a Mobil 1 or a Castrol is fine. As long as it meets the requirements for Volkswagen, then it should be fine. But one little extra thing that I use for just a little extra protection, and I put these in all my cars, is a magnetic drain plug. This is a anodized aluminum drain plug, and it has a magnet on the end. As you can see, it's sticking to the steel table. So what this does is it's going to pick up any metal particle or anything that you have floating around in the oil. It's going to attract to this magnet. When you pull this out, if you have any, after your second oil change, when you do this, you're just going to take a rag and wipe this off, maybe some brake cleaner, and clean it off. And that's just going to keep any metal particle from getting into your engine. The more particles that go through your oil passages and everything else, the more problems we're going to have. So this is just an extra layer of protection. I think I paid $3 for this. You just got to find, if you're not doing this on the exact car that I'm doing, this is an M14 by 150 drain plug, and they make these for anything that fluid touches in the car. So you have a metal catching plug for the magnetic plugs for the differentials. If you have an all-wheel drive vehicle, and you have them for the transmission. If you have a manual transmission, and there should be a magnet in the pan for an automatic transmission or the DSG as well. So these are very cheap. A lot of different people make them, but pretty much they're all the same. You just want to make sure that it accepts the the factory crush washer on there and make sure that you replace those. About every other oil change is what I do. So with this, we'll get into the oil change. Okay, here's the engine we're going to be dealing with today. It's a 2-liter TSI. It's the third generation engine, 2-liter engine from Volkswagen. And the cool thing about this is the oil filter is right up top. So really easy to get to. It is a cartridge style filter, so we don't replace the housing. They do make different housings for these. They make some billet aluminum ones and some finned ones that are supposedly high performance or whatnot. So they're about $60 to $100 depending on you know, which one you want to go to. But the plastic one's fine. You just have to make sure that you have the right socket to take that off and you don't over torque it. And they normally last a pretty long time. So when I'm underneath the hood and I'm doing these, you know, say 10,000 mile service, I'm really just checking the fluid levels and making sure that the fluid's not dirty. And say like my brake fluid, which is going to be over here, I'm going to check that level there. If you've got low brake fluid, check your brake pads. They're probably low. Either that or you may have a leak. Your coolant level, see I'm right there. The car's pretty hot right now, so it's right there at the minimum, but I may top that up. I always use distilled water in topping up my coolant with water. Of course, your windshield washer fluid, if you want to put some of that in. And just generally just want to check over everything, make sure nothing's coming loose, making sure all my hoses are good to go. Give them a little squeeze test here and there. And just generally looking over for anything crazy. You know, look underneath the cover, oil leaks, anything like that. This is your chance to really get to know your car and make sure that everything is good to go. So before I change the oil, and it's very important in this car or it'll take forever for the oil to drain, is I pull the dipstick up. This has got a closed system, so if you just undo the drain plug on the oil pan, you're not going to get the airflow going into the engine to properly get rid of the oil. So just pull your dipstick, or you can take your oil cap off, and that is going to allow air to enter the engine as the oil leaves, and that's going to make things a lot quicker. So next step will be lifting up the car, and we'll start draining the oil. Okay, so I went ahead and just took the engine cover off just to give you all a little bit more visibility here. It just pops off. It has these little grommets here, and you just pull it off with your hands. But here's where your oil filter is. It takes a 32 millimeter right here, and you'll just loosen. You can use a socket and a wrench. I just happen to grab this. You're going to loosen this up. And I normally do this before I drain the oil out from the bottom. It'd be a lot easier with the socket. I just couldn't find one. I found the wrench. So, and this is where the cartridge lives. So pull this off right here. You'll see some oil will drip off of it. So just be careful not to, like, you know, drip it all over the inside of the car. I normally turn it upside down like that, and there is the cartridge. So I'm gonna lay this over here on the table. The cartridge just pulls out. You just take, sometimes you may need to take a pair of pliers or screwdriver or something, pop it out. And you have a O-ring right here. That's gonna come new in the box. You can see it down there in the box. And so just take a small screwdriver and pop that O-ring off and put the new O-ring on, and take some new oil, lubricate it, and you're going to put this cartridge in. Make sure some of these cartridges have a up and down side. I normally put this side up, the writing up, just to make sure that some of these do have an up and down, so keep that in mind. And when we when we go to torque this, it has the 25 Newton meters right here on the end. We'll use the torque wrench to torque that back down. Okay, so I have the vehicle raised up, and the drain plug right here is a Torx bit. It is a 45, a T45, so you're gonna need that right there. And we'll go ahead and take this off and get the oil draining. And you don't have to take this pan off right here because again the oil filter's up top. And we just got our oil drain here. We're gonna go ahead and get this busted off and start getting the oil drained. All right, so I got this thing loose. And again, this is one of the messier parts of the job here. And again, we're going to replace this plug with a magnetic one. So what I normally do is I just do the full quick trick here. And capacity on this car is 5.5 liters, which is about 6 quarts or so, a little less than 6 quarts. So we'll drain this in an appropriate container, let it drain for a little while and get all of it out. Okay, so we got the oils just barely dripping out there now, so we're gonna put back in our drain plug here. And again, I got this magnetic drain plug. Just gonna make sure that it threads in correctly. Make sure that we got the thread pitch correct. It looks like we do. And we don't want to over torque this because it is an aluminum plug. So just want to give it a quick little pull there. And then we're going to clean this area off right here. And the reason why we do that is to make sure that the new one doesn't leak. So if we got that oil there, we can't tell. Okay, so now we're just going to add the oil. We got the car back down. We got the filter tightened back up. Got to be careful. It's really shallow here, so we got to use this funnel here. And this Luber has a spout on it. It's really easy. You don't want to spill oil all over the place. It's kind of a odd area. So definitely use a funnel. You want to use a little bit smaller one than I'm using. Hey, I'm doing it. Okay. And this one takes this whole 5-liter bottle plus half a 1-liter bottle. Okay, so after we pour the oil in, we'll go ahead and replace the cap. You're gonna check your oil, make sure that it's at the proper level. It may be sitting a little bit high until you crank the vehicle up and get the oil pressure back up, get the oil in all the passages. And so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna crank it up and let it run for a little bit, shut it off, let it, I normally wait about 30 seconds after shut off and let the oil return to the pan, and then we're gonna check the level and make sure it's correct. Okay, so now we're going to crank up the vehicle. You may see the oil light come on. You may even get a warning in the MFI system that the oil pressure is low. That should go away within a few seconds. If it doesn't, shut the car off. You've done something wrong, and just double check everything. But so let's go ahead and give it a crank. And everything looks good. Just going to let it run for a few seconds, put the idle level out and everything else, and then we'll turn the vehicle off and check the oil level. Okay, so it looks like I'm dead middle of my stick here. It's kind of hard to focus in on this, but you'll see in between those two indentions there is a crosshatch area. And that's, your oil should be, that's the operating range there. So it should be kind of dead middle or a little bit higher. And that will show you that you've got a full crankcase there of oil. So you want to check your oil about every 1,000 miles of driving at least, if not a lot more. I normally do about every 500 miles or about every tank full of gas. Being a turbocharged engine, they will use a little oil. They're supposed to. It happens. And there is a specification, and it's about a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. So definitely check your oil and top up when necessary. Okay, so oil and filter is changed now. That's, you know, I hope that y'all learned how to do this and how easy it is to do maintenance to your own vehicle. I kind of get accused sometimes of making it look easy because I have a 4-post rack, but this is just as easy with a jack and jack stand or a set of ramps in your driveway. Just remember to be extremely careful when you're doing this. Set the parking brake, put it in park, or put it in gear. That way the car doesn't roll or anything. And always, you know, safety glasses, torque everything to specifications. But I hope you liked the video. If you did, go ahead and give me a like and give me a subscribe. And my next video is going to be on how to reset the service light. I didn't want to just add it to this video because that's sometimes what only people are looking for, is to reset their service light. So look out for that a little bit later. And for now, signing off, Taylor Bryant, Master Tech. See you next time.